Hello guys, in today's video I will show you a total of 3, dare I say, pretty cool command creations that are pretty easy to implement into your world. So, let's start. Actually no, let me just show off all of them at once. This is the hybrid zombie, it simply looks slightly differently. This bow here simply doesn't work, it's a troll bow basically. And this lucky sword has 3 different outputs, as you can see. I get diamonds, I get damaged, or this happens. Let's get into the tutorial. For the sake of simplicity, I will show you these 2 command blocks first. This command block is responsible for creating these hybrid zombies, and of course you can do this with any other mob that can wear heads or helmets or whatever. So essentially what's happening is you're replacing the helmet slot or head slot of each zombie with a skeleton skull, and here you could work with data to, I don't know, pick an ender dragon for example, or ender dragon skull, much rather. And well, as for this trolling bow here, it's pretty simple. You're just killing each arrow and that's it. Make sure both of these commands are on always active. Unless you want to be able to trigger them easily, then you should work with levers. And let's get into the lucky sword because it's the more complicated one. Okay, to start things off, I want you to create a scoreboard. This scoreboard is named Lucky, and as soon as I press this button, of course, nothing happens because I have created it already, as you might be able to tell. But the command is scoreboard objectives at Lucky Dummy. Just pause the video, but yeah, that's how you create a scoreboard. I'm sure you already know that. This first command block here will be required so that you can detect hitting, which is mandatory for this build. Okay, so it tests whether you're holding a golden sword in your main slot and whether that golden sword has lost 1 durability, which is supplied by this data equals 1 value in here. If this is true, then your lucky scoreboard is going to be randomized from 1 to 3. Now, 1 should always be 1, unless you're starting with 0 or some other number for some reason, and 3, or the second number, should always be the maximum number of events you've implemented. Because, of course, you can add more than 3 events to this. I've just done 3 pretty easy examples. Okay, this actually is why the sword will work in survival mode only, of course in adventure as well, but let's say it just doesn't work in creative. And after that part, the golden sword is returned to your main slot because otherwise you won't be able to keep using it. Now that we've pretty much covered the fundamentals, we can have a look at these 3, again, pretty simplistic designs for events I've proposed. So now, if your lucky score equals 1, because it got turned to 1 randomly from hitting, then you initially are gonna hear this note.plink sound. And this is actually done via the play sound command. What a surprise. Now then, each player with a lucky score of 1 gets diamonds. Each player with a lucky score of 1, which remains the same target selector for this row of command blocks, is displayed this text in chat. And in the end, the lucky score is set to 0 because otherwise these effects would stack and just stop occurring. Now, as you can imagine, all of these events follow a pretty similar pattern. So you might be thinking that the first thing applied will be sound again, which is true. This time though it tests for the lucky score of 2. Now this works a bit differently from what we've experimented so far, however essentially it's still the same underlying process. So what happens is, each entity tests whether a player with a lucky score of 2 is within a range of 10 blocks centered at itself. And the players with this score are of course excluded from that list because you don't want to well, heat yourselves up, do you? So then, if that's the case, all of these mobs affected apply a levitation effect of a duration of 1 second and an amplifier of 15 to themselves. It also has this true modifier here, which is just disables particles. Okay, then this same stuff happens again, and just This time a particle is created, which again can be changed. Another text message is displayed, and in the end, the lucky score is reset again. Please, if you've enjoyed watching so far, consider leaving a like on this video, maybe subscribe to my channel, and just mayhaps, if you have some money to spare or are too lazy to type in all of these command blocks yourself, then check out my Patreon, link in the description. And lastly, as again these all follow the same pattern, the third row of commands is pretty easy as well. So first of all you have this other place command. Then actually this time something different happens, and the player in question with the lucky 3 score is damaged by 3, and the damage type is magic, and of course you can change this damage and damage type to whatever you want. So now again a particle is displayed. This time it's just at the player. Another tile row command is executed, and in the end the lucky score is set to 0 again. So what do you want to do if you plan to implement more events like these? Basically, always at a new row start it off with some command like this that, I don't know, maybe it's a placement command, though it doesn't really matter, as long as it includes this lucky equals and then basically the number of your event, if you will. In the end, you want this event to reset your lucky score, so it doesn't keep being executed, and then you want to adjust this number here accordingly. So if you have 5 events, you want to randomize it from 1 to 5, and so on and so forth. If you've already liked this video, then here on the screen there are some more commands that you definitely don't want to miss.